Do I look tired? Because I am. Anyway, welcome back to Miss J OK, because it is me, Miss J OK, back. And I'm kind of a bit late, like anyone would care, but I ended up posting late. It's supposed to be a weekly challenge, but I can explain. So I had a Chinese video planned because I went to China and it was amazing. I did a lot of things. I did not do a lot of things because I had an ear infection the week before. And for anyone who has had an ear infection, they in the comments or myself will tell you it's absolutely horrific. I was in agonizing pain. I thought I had a brain tumor. I seriously thought I would have to cancel the trip because I was in such agonizing pain. But against my better judgment and most medical professions, I went anyway, and I didn't even have much of a problem on the plane, and it was a great time, but the headaches persisted, and I can't handle pain very well. So I spent most of my time figuring out how to get rid of the headaches. That's not how you should spend a holiday, but it gave me a video, so I'm going to take it. But before I continue, let me just say I am not a medical profession. This is all from my personal experience, from watching multiple different videos and falling ever deeper in the Dr. Google depth of hell. And I hope I'm just a positive video that you need if you're also suffering from sudden headaches and you just need as many remedies as possible, because frankly, no one really wants to scroll down further and further into the depths of the internet before you're convinced that you do have terminal brain cancer. Once again, not a medical profession. If you do find yourself suddenly in pain, do actually look for your doctor. I'm just here as a helpful and soothing and hopefully calm and happy voice of reason and remedies. I've got my notes on the side and we shall begin. So the physical hacks, you probably already know. Most of the search results you will find will say stay hydrated, make sure you eat on time, give yourself enough vitamins and minerals, and I will agree to a certain point. Now obviously different people have different bodies and different bodies have different reactions to remedies, but for me water didn't help. I was obviously in a hot country, but water did not do anything. But I would suggest to do it anyway because your body needs to be hydrated. Hydration is key. Get them electrolytes, put a bit of salt in your water or something like that. In fact, there was a hack that I found which made me happy, whether it worked or not, but it was called the McDonald's headache hack. I will put something up. And it was essentially just get yourself some salty chips and a Coke. So the Coke was supposed to be there for sugar and obviously hydration, and the salt in the chips will help you with the electrolytes and whatnot. So that just made me fat, but like, you know what? I'll take anything. The next physical hack for the headache, especially if you're going through one or you feel like one's coming, is a warm compress and some steam inhalation therapy. And essentially that means stick yourself in a hot area. Put a warm towel on your neck or on your forehead for 10 minutes. And that's it really. Try and relax, try and not be too engaged in something, because the last thing you want to do is make your brain and your head work even more. For me, because it was an ear infection, I lied on the affected side because I don't really want fluid going back and making my ear pressure go exponentially high. And then I just laid on my back a bit elevated so I wasn't flat, and that just helped release the tension. Another thing I did was the TMJ/neck release exercise, but essentially you're going to be doing a lot of jaw exercises because the ear and the jaw and the nose are all connected. Imagine everything in your face is connected in some way. Amazing. But what you'll do is just open your press under your cheekbones and then close your mouth again. Do this a couple of times. Also some chin tucks would help. Now, I'm being very, very laissez-faire about this because I am not a medical profession, but I'm rapid firing this because I don't want to edit this much. Another thing that helped me was acupuncture. I don't mean sticking needles in your body and hoping that it will attack the nerves causing the headaches. I mean simply just pressing your palm like this between the thumb and the index finger, and that kind of helped. There's a lot of science behind it, or some sort of mumbo jumbo that I didn't really care to read. If it doesn't work, we can try this other pressure point that really worked for me, surprisingly, because sometimes you think, oh, this is just whatever, but this, press your eyebrows, especially in the area where you've got the headache. Maybe it's the pain of pinching your eyebrows, or maybe there is actually a nerve that's being released. And lastly, for the physical remedies is plan. I'm an overthinker, I'm a planner, I have to do everything to the T. And planning around my headaches is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Because in the end, you're trying to avoid the headaches, especially if you've got constant migraines. Now, let me just quickly say, I've only had headaches for the last month. daily headaches for the last month does not make me a professional in this whole thing. There are people out there who've had it for years and will tell you all the things there are, and I couldn't find any of these people, or at least maybe I wasn't trying hard enough. But if there's anyone in the comments who has a lot more experience or who's an actual profession, comment down below whether or not you think what I'm saying stands, or you think of any other better suggestions, because I'm coming from personal experience. This is what I've done in the last month and a bit. It made me sane. I'm trying to produce a meeting point in which no one has to go further down the internet rabbit hole and decide that, yep, they're going to die because of this headache. Plan around your headaches. So I would note down when I have headaches and what I think my triggers are. Though for the most part, I was beginning to think that my triggers were psychological, which I'll get into in a bit. But my headaches were timed. They always happened at 11 o'clock and it really freaking sucked. But I did my best to plan around it, which meant taking water at certain times, taking in magnesium. Magnesium glycinate was a great help. I felt like the days I did take them were a lot easier for me. Taking meds before the headache starts, because of my planning and because I knew when my headaches were coming, I actually took my medication to stop it from ever happening, because what's the point of suffering? Obviously, be careful about overdoing it with the pain medication. Make sure you talk to your doctor if that's something you are worried about. And yeah, it turns out journaling, something I've been telling you to do since I started this journey, still works in a medical sense. But anyway, I told you that I think my headaches were psychological. I don't have any medical backing because of it. I do have a GP appointment, so maybe. Earlier I said that I didn't have any real trigger for my headaches, because in the end, my headaches would just start. But there will be no real reason. I did everything right and still the headache will come. So I started to believe that my headaches were becoming psychological. My brain was just prepping to have a headache and was just giving it to me anyway, because of course it would. I've been doing it for the last 2 weeks. Let's keep going. So how do I stop myself from thinking that I need to prepare for a headache? I don't plan to tell myself to give myself a headache, but the body just does what the body does, and you gotta have to work around it. So I've done a 3-part tension check. I try to remind myself, what am I doing to hold tension? Is there something stressing me? How can I soften myself and release all that pressure? That was something for my journal. Despite the lack of physical triggers, if there's some emotional triggers that I wasn't addressing, this was the time to address them. Sometimes I didn't work because the reason why I was tense is because I've been having headaches all the damn time. Another thing I did was, and this might sound really annoying because it really annoyed me at the time, was just stay positive, because the thing that I'm afraid of is going to be stuck with me for a while anyway. So instead of fearing it, I should just reframe the situation and just tell myself I'm okay. It did help. It also helped having someone else to be there and telling you to stay positive. I felt bad. It was my mum, but mums are supposed to do that. Going back into mindsets during my migraine attacks, instead of telling myself, make it stop, I'm in agony, I'm in so much pain, I just want it to stop, I told myself this is temporary. It will only last so long. Before I know it, I can go to bed and I'll be happy and I'll spend the next couple of hours enjoying myself. By reminding yourself that this is only temporary, makes the suffering not last as long. My dog just entered the room. Bella, stop it. My dog is here and she might be a bit loud. I'm going to keep going. You know what? One other thing I would say, have a dog, have an animal, therapy animal. It helps take your mind away from it. That's definitely a good point to have. Isn't that right, Bella? And then in the end, just having a downshift. If you can plan 20 minutes out of your day to just avoid having too many mental stimuli, as in low lights, no screen time, no dogs trying to disturb your recording, that alone time will signal just safety in your brain, whether you realize it or not, and it will help. Now, I'm talking very specifically about my headaches, but this could apply to a lot of things in life. I think it's about time I got philosophical with this video, so you can use this to really any stress point in your life. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm too tired. What are your mental hacks or physical hacks for headaches? Because right now I'm on beta blockers because it's still an ongoing thing, but it's getting better. I'm watching my dog have a mental breakdown. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay blessed, stay happy, take your vitamins. Don't get an ear infection. I do not approve. Anyway, have a good one. Bye-bye.